Finally, let's welcome Mr. Justin Bong, Chief Business Researcher, Senior Product Specialist of Glodon Company Limited International BU. He will be sharing his take on digitalization, digital building, BIM implementation, cubicle software, and case projects. Now welcome.
Hello. Thank you, Tinsy. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. How are you all? And since I'm the last speaker and since everyone is awake, I'll begin my 2-hour speech. It will just be a brief, right? Well, I'm the business researcher. I'm basically in the task of researching incorporation between the software implementation, especially in BIM, in the industry, especially in the construction, and now especially in the costing aspect. And it's my honor to speak here today. I believe that the world is changing, right? We are moving towards another era, the era of digitalization. And we want everything to be done automatically, right? Everything to be done without effort. And some of it has become a reality. We are no more a myth. For example, we're using our mobile to pay cash, right? To pay for anything we want. We are also able to check for issues in construction site even before the construction is built on the site. And we are also able to attempt any information seamlessly in seconds. And this is because of the availability of technology, right? So what is the technology behind all this? This brings us to our talk today, the value of informatization solution for the development of the international AEC enterprises. My talk will consist of 3 parts. Informatization, digitalization in the AEC industry, the international BIM requirements implementation, we look at some of the countries, and also some BIM case projects, which is especially using cubicles applied in some of our clients. Right. Okay, so basically, let's take a step back into the past and review how our industry develops so far. The industry has gone through tremendous evolution over the past few decades, right? Just over recent years, Industry 3.0 advances so rapidly that it created a new realm where things not possible before has been made possible now, right? In this Industry 4.0, everything now is interconnected, where our lives, our work, and our surroundings are connected within the web base. Right? So with artificial vision and simulation, for example, this part, we can see things before it is created. Okay? And with virtual reality, we can feel what it's like before being physically present in the space and time. And with collaborative robotics, work can be done much faster in a more efficient way. Right. Things we have never achieved before is achievable now. So where is our industry? Where do our industry stands? McKinsey and Company, a global institute, did an industry digitalization index in 2015, and the results were very concerning, especially to us. Our industry is so far behind the rest of the industry, and the digitalization process across all aspects in the industry is by far lowest, and it's only second after agriculture. Although the reports is 3 years ago, because it's 2015, I believe that we have managed to climb up a few stages, but we still have a lot to catch up. Right? So what should we do? How can we stay competitive? Now let's look at one of the most advanced industry, the car manufacturing industry. The manufacturing industry of automobiles have evolved and developed over the past few years, right? From design to quality check. Every work processes have been streamlined to accommodate the supply chain requirements. And the usage of human labor in the previous conveyor belt system was converted to the usage of robotics arms and automated sensor grids. Quality checks processes are also streamlined and also reinvented to reduce human error. As you can see that they're using sensors instead of human checking manually. Right? So all this won't be possible if technology is not part of the equation. So the question now is, how do these machines understand what to do before and what to do after? What happens if a fault appears? And how are all these processes streamlined? Okay, the answer is in the blood of technology, the data, information, and the model. Right? The success of the manufacturing industry is implementation of the BIM-based digital platform, which connects all the dots between processes, bridging from the supply chain requirements to the final product. And the platform consists of mainly three aspects: digitalization, data input, informatization, how the data collaborated and interconnected with each other, and modelization. So basically, it's the data, information, and model, right? So could this concept lead to the advancement in our industry by applying this from the manufacturing industry? Indeed, in recent years, initiatives has been taken to explore the possibilities of technology in the AEC industry. Similar like the manufacturing industry, a lot of manual and conventional work is being converted to smart digital model-based platform, where model processes are streamlined to much more productive methods. BIM has become the fundamental technology along with other technology and concepts like VDC, IDD, BLM, and so on. Consequently, various applications have also been developed, and this includes the usage of probably the electronic gadgets here, like an iPad, to monitor progress and site, and also the use of iPads to control the tower crane material placements, quality checks, and RFID tagging for material logistics, online management reports for critical decision making, and design and software and monitoring, AR and VR, and so on. Okay? So work can be much more interesting and exciting when we use this technology. So why are still a lot of firms not adopting this technology yet? The model-based BIM technology is very, very powerful. It can be applied throughout the project lifecycle, similarly as the manufacturing industry. From conceptual design to the final product, the data and information are inputted into the model and then integrated and collaborated, and finally applied in various different scenarios, as you can see here. And also you can see that the model undergoes a tremendous makeover, right? You can see that the colors of the model and the model information increases as the stages proceeds, right? From the conceptual stage to the final stage, right? So nowadays, as clients' requirements increases in the supply chain for construction, the initial design can achieve similar detail as the as-built. And I heard some of the company that have made this possible with the ability to achieve LOD 500 even during pre-standard stage. Imagine more possibilities you can achieve with this technology. And in relation to that, information is vital in the success of the model. Thus, with the level of development, okay? Model can be created to meet its purpose, and this level of development is from the IT information technology definitions. LOD consists of the level of detail and level of information. And this specification is a reference that enables practitioners in the AEC industry to specify and articulate with high level of clarity the content and reliability of the BIM in various stages. Okay? So this means that this model can provide an industry-developed standard to describe the state of development within the BIM model. And this standard enables consistency in communication and also enables the execution of BIM in the different milestones and deliverables. So in other words, information is important to determine its purpose. If less, it might not be good, right? And it might result in a poor model. But if more, it might not be a good thing too. So how can this information collaborated in a BIM project? Working in a centralized BIM-based model platform like the manufacturing platform, all these systems is managed by respective required professionals who is most capable and knowledgeable person in that field. For example, the designs are managed by the architects, the engineers, MEP engineers. The cost is managed by the cost engineers or QS, scheduling by planners, and so on. So although they are working on a same platform, the software program which runs the respective tasks is not necessarily the same. And to communicate on the same platform, data is required to be decoded into a common language. Similarly, like us, our common language is probably Chinese or English, right? If I speak Melayu, apa khabar? Only a few of the congregation might know, right? So if it's not understood, miscommunication will occur. Hence, some common technical language such as the IFC, OpenBeam, BCF is developed by Building Smart for different software programs to communicate and understand each other. And this is all the data and information required. The question is all this data and information required to be communicated in the model? Which type of information should be shared? So since each professional in the project has different sets of requirements and different scope of work, the BIM model is required to cater for each of these purposes, whether it's fit for QTO, quality takeoff, whether fit for planning, quality check, and so on. And the most important alphabet within the BIM is the I, right? So as the design improves, or as time goes by, the information of the I increases. This means that when they are shared to the project team, each team will manage, right, and categorize and streamline to suit their requirements and needs. So QS will categorize the model into their cost plans, their PQ, add their cost informations, and so on, produce their own cost reports. And in the event of any changes, right, the design in the model, the revised model can be updated in the cost model. And thus, it is not necessary to revert these models back to the initial model. Right? So even so, the modeling software might not be able to read or display the information correctly from all these different models. Right? So we are also looking at the breakthrough and on this part of the task, so that because when there is changes in the model, the information will be read in the cost modeling side. So all this information will be updated automatically, and there is no need to do a rework or a second to redo everything. Okay, so design team do not have the responsibility to handle all this information. If we were to revert back to the BIM and they will do the changes and then go to the cost model, it will be a hassle, right? So if the model is not fitting, the model will be useless in each of these teams because it does not satisfy their requirements or standards. So consequently, some companies have been creating standards in their internal organization so that models created can be suited and fit for this purpose. But it tends to increase the time taken and workload for the modelers to create this model to be fitting. There's a lot of communication between two teams, right? Please give me this. I don't want my columns to be on top of my beams and so on, right? All these things. So as a software vendor, we are also doing some exploration on this matter, and we have some breakthrough. Later, I'll share with you. So design is an important milestone in construction project also. And as design becomes more advanced, client requirements in the supply chain become more demanding. They want the design to be in the shortest time possible, right? So thus, advanced technology software are developed to suit this market. Like for example, the use of MagicCAD. You can achieve the MEP design detail quickly as it is embedded with the localized standards in different countries, right? So all these BIM libraries, their information parameters are all available. And the most important benefit is designing in a virtual environment. You are able to reduce your mistake because if there is a mistake done in the actual construction site, it will be too late. Digital-based models also can allow the cost department to extract accurate quantities and generate the necessary reports for costing, budgeting, and monitoring of progresses. Right? And some QTO software are developed to only able to read the quantities from the model. And if the model is wrong, then the result will also be wrong. And most say that it's rubbish in, rubbish out. Right? So in order to cater for this problem, some software like QBCost is equipped with the calculation rules, which is the most important substance in the costing progress. Right? So even though the models, the elements are joined together, it can be measured correctly, like in this case. Okay? So every country has their own standards and rules. Like in Hong Kong, slabs to be measured across beams and columns. But in Singapore, columns are measured across beams and beams across slab. And formwork and foundation excavations need to be done in stages. And all these standards and settings are all embedded in the software, allowing the quantities to be calculated accurately according to the requirements. And so far, in the international market, there is no QTO software which is able to read the information. However, due to experiences in modeling, modelers are also not equipped with the experience of a QS, right, for this case. So some companies have been training their QS to become modelers, and because models created by them is considerably more suitable for QTO, more fit for QTO. All right? And another important data for the BIM is the time management. Some initiatives have also been developed to create the critical path automatically in the model. So it means that once you have a model, you put in the system, and the system will tell you that each task are managed correctly before and after. Right? So if the time beam construction of beam, like for example in this case, beam, the column rebar has not been done, but the beam has been done, so the software will highlight to you, oh, there's a warning, okay, something's wrong in the task. Right? So all this is possible with programming codes and technology. In terms of the environmental health and safety, data can also be used to be added into the model. Like, for example, this morning, Dr. Robert Yen has presented on the use of construction helmet, right? So that the progress or the information of the site progress can be achieved easily, right? So user will be able to, like for example, in this case, add the locations of the tower crane zones for safety-wise, tower crane zones, the material supply zone, scaffolding zone, or the danger zones, so that they know that which are the location to place CCTV speakers to alarm the workers when they wear the helmet to walk past these few areas, the alarm will sound. You're working on the danger zone, please be careful, right, and so on. So on the other hand, 3D printing is also beginning. Sorry. Yeah, this is for the helmet. Okay, so in some parts of the country, some helmets are also used to simulate the construction detail at site. Okay, information from the model can be streamed live into the lenses of an engineer. For example, in this case, they do not have to bring a laptop or the hard copy drawings to site, as they can review the actual visualizations versus the virtual environment. Okay. So on the other hand, 3D printing is also beginning to gain a lot of attention from stakeholders, and it has proven quite useful from the beginner scale to the massive scale. Researchers have also proven that buildings printed with this technology has similar concrete or durability strength as the conventional method. And probably would this be the future of our industry, from design directly to construction? Maybe only time will tell us. And further initiatives also developed to satisfy client needs. Example, like the use of AR to check the model against a plan drawing. And this can be used to improve the clients' and owners' visualization so that they do not have to install very massive software requirements on their PC or look at web platforms to view the requirements, okay, to communicate between stakeholders, right? Hassle-free and economical. And probably this is another new initiative which was invented recently, the neuron-controlled robotics. With a headgear, the robots can be controlled without even a click or push any button. Okay? All movements of the machine robots can be controlled from the intention of the human mind. So probably an engineer at site can already control the tower cranes movement without being present physically at site. Okay? So some of the initiatives have been taken to develop these advancements. And now I would like to share with you some of the implementations of BIM in a few countries. Okay. Mr. Lee has shared regarding the implementation and roadmap of BIM in Singapore. And with effect of 19th of October 2016, all architecture plans and the other plans, CS and MEP, is to be on mandatory, right? And CES, CNS, and MEP will be mandatory in the second half of 2018. And all these submissions must be in accordance with the relevant BIM guides and prevailing codes of practice published by BCA. And to promote these initiatives, BCA is also giving a lot of training and funding to increase the supply of BIM managers, modelers in the market. And some of the cases I would like to share with you, like they have this Singapore VDC guide, which shows you how detailed the model should be modeled, what are the preventions should be considered when the model is created. Okay? The guide also spells out another part is the non-geometrical information. What are the parameters which should be highlighted or described in the elements? This is very important because if the models are created without all these errors, the quantity takeoff will be very fitting, the planning will be very good, the quality check will also be very great. All right. So recently, in one of the projects, BIM implementation was specified in certain class and grade. As you can see from the table here, it is divided into 3 different classes. And to achieve the first class BIM, the team is required to propose and carry out innovations which include all of the second, lower, and upper class criteria. And any models given at the bidding contractors as early as the tendering stage is required BIM. So the BIM model must be good and proper quality even before construction begins. So it seems that it's not easy to obtain the first class BIM, but it is not impossible, right? There have been efforts done, and some have been successful, right? Like this case here, I think this is one of the projects in one of the institutions. This is during tender, models created to such detail and given to the bidding contractors as early as the tendering stage. And as you can see here, each model are described or are created in a different discipline, and they are modeled very, very detailed. This quality can already allow a lot of decision making and costing to be done. And in another part of the world, Hong Kong, the BIM implementation is governed by CSE with the push and pull strategy. Push strategy to advocate project clients and asset owners to adopt BIM. Pull strategy to facilitate industry-wide buying in and industry-wide ready, to get industry ready. CIC has also published some numerous BIM guides for the country and has collaborated around 30 stakeholders. But nevertheless, they have not made BIM mandatory in their projects, probably soon, I guess. And in Malaysia, BIM usage is slowly maturing and it's growing faster than we have ever imagined, right? One of the projects, collaboration between JKR is the Cancer Center in 2010, which is completed, I think, in a few years ago, 2015, right? And from this latest information I got, it's they have able to reach LOD 500 for about 5% of their projects. LOD 400, 10%, and 300 more. And we are looking forward also to collaborate with JKR and MyBIM in Malaysia, bridging the BIM implementation to the next level. And the institution of government in Malaysia also published some very, very useful BIM guides, especially those who are organizations who are just wanted to take their first step into BIM. They have these 4 publishers, the awareness, readiness, adoption, and BIM execution plan. I think it's very good. In UK, however, have actually implemented BIM since the early years in 2016. They have implemented level 2 BIM, and they are able to achieve level 2 BIM. But now they are doing some more progress into level 3 BIM. So before we look at the level 3, I would like to share with you the reports recently done by NBS, published by NBS on May 10th. As most of you know that the annual NBS National BIM Report is recognized as one of the industry's most comprehensive reviews in the usage of BIM. And they have been releasing some very interesting facts on the development and update of BIM around the world. And this case I particularly want to highlight to you is the report on the usage of IFC projects. As we are well aware of, the IFC might contain certain loss of data through conversion from one platform to another platform. But this does not mean that we should not use IFC. Right? As a matter of fact, from the MBS project, IFC is going to be essential in achieving level 3 BIM. Right? And you can notice that the IFC file format, not DWF or DWFX or NWC or CAD or RVT or any other files. And I quote from the report here, coordination between information is important because conflicting information can threaten the realization of the design intent and dispute. Right? And besides that, the report also showed that most of the respondents disagree that information models only work in the software that creates them. In other words, information should be able to receive, read, interpreted across all platforms of software and does not limited to only certain software. As it was mentioned that as BIM is collaborative, that collaboration cannot rest on the adoption of one proprietary piece of modeling software or another. This is where IFC comes in. And this is a very interesting section also from the report, showing that the workflow of the assemblies in the construction, this is very similar to the manufacturing industry, right? The way we build things are going to be different, okay, in a few years to come. And from conventional process to model-based BIM platform is going to be a great shift, right? So I'll give me a few minutes to share with you some of the project cases. All right. This is a condominium project done by China Jingye Construction Singapore, also known as MCC, who has been our VIP clients for more than 6 to 7 years. They are now using the Cubicos. They have now a Cubicos BIM team, which handles all QTO and cost estimating for tender and projects. And for the GFA of this size, they only took them by half of the time if it's taken manually. They also developed an internal BIM modeling standard so that models created can integrate between the BIM team and the QS team to improve their collaboration within the organization. And another project is the mixed development project done by a Japanese construction company, Obayashi. They have also implemented BIM and Cubicos, particularly for QTO and project coordination in the tender and project stage. And they found that taking off using the Rebar QTO software particularly enables them to produce accurate results, right? Because it is according to the local rules of Eurocodes and the British standards, unlike other proprietary software in the market. In one of the renowned large-scale this is one of the projects, I'll skip this. Okay. Large-scale construction companies in Hong Kong, they have also integrated a model with the cost plan and the BQ, right? They utilize the data for various cost analysis. You can see here there are cost analysis for different bills and also elements. So depending on the types of project, the Cubicos BIM model can assist the company to manage their PQ, resulting in higher productivity or workflow. Also changes the model will be reflected in the cost, allowing a process called the generative cost modeling. In UK, however, it is implemented by Maurice Rowe in the Greenwich Peninsula, one of the most prestigious developments in London. The Cubicos BIM technology has saved them almost half of the time if it were to take by conventional methods, especially in terms of quantity costings. And BackQS, on the other hand, have implemented a system in a renovation of a famous hotel in Sloane Square, London, called the Cadogan Project. The model was highly complex, but it was no sweat for them, and they can now keep track of their complex partition changes, types, in the renovation project. In Malaysia, however, the digital BIM platform was used in one of the Cyberjaya projects, and this is created by 2 QSs in 2 weeks using the Cubicos platform. In fact, modelers might take up a lot of the time to create, probably, as the market becomes more mature with better modelers, faster modelers will create better products to integrate with the Cubicos system so that efficient quantity costing can also be produced. The next project also a simple project like landed properties can also implement BIM. Okay? This is because any data and information used within the project can act as a knowledge library. So as in the long run, we increase the innovation of the companies in their future projects for their decision making, plannings, and so on. And by utilizing some simple tools like the PDF converter and the drawing differ under the Cubicle suite, the PDF BQ, the PDF column and BIM schedule, Fincher schedules, all these plan schedules can be converted into editable format and thus can be inserted into the information model. So drawings can be compared also to identify the changes in the revision model, providing much clearer to the users where before that there will be a lot of miss out. Right? And many users are very satisfied with and have very high credibility on these tools over other tools. And on the other hand, in Jakarta, Indonesia, PP Construction, one of the top developers decided to implement BIM because they wanted to have better cost control on their pre-tender processes to minimize human errors and expand their reputation across Asia. And upon the implementation of Cubicle's BIM takeoff, it saved them about 50% of their time. And moreover, they mentioned that it provides accurate report, details, especially in rebar, and the invaluable ability to see the 3D visualizations. And we have since collaborated with numerous clients and companies in the international market to increase the implementation of BIM and improve the reputation of productivity of these companies. And I would like to take the opportunity to express my gratitude to them and for their support and commitment. Some collaborations which we did internationally also includes the global merger between companies to increase the R&D initiative or BIM implementation with Autodesk, Progman OY, CIDB, and RICS. And throughout the year, we have also organized competitions, product launches, top management talks, BIM workshop, BIM conference, information sharing to spread our love for BIM. And we have also conducted learning sessions, tours, and webinars to promote the interconnected industry and work better in the industry. And eventually came out with the slogan, be a digital construction hero. And here we encourage you to adopt the digital construction concepts. And finally, I would like to leave you with a quote. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change, from Charles Darwin. And be a digital construction hero, unlock the full potential of BIM. Thank you very much.